Hey guys, so today I'm in my gardening room and I want to show you my little setup for growing microgreens or sprouts or something. Let's find out. So I bought this cute little box kind of sprouting system from Amazon. And I'm going to post a link in the description below for this in my shop, and I'm going to show you how it works. And now it is my first time using it, but I'm kind of really excited about it. So in previous videos, I've shown you how to sprout seeds in a jar. I've shown you how to grow microgreens. And now I've got this little unit here, which is pretty interesting. And what it does is it grows microgreens in a sprouts type of form. So there is no soil. All you need is this little system, and you pour water over the seeds and they sprout, and then they grow, and then they grow tall like a microgreen. So unlike a sprout, which grows in a jar and it's all kind of tangled and together in a mass, and you eat the seed and you eat the shoot, but the shoot is kind of short when you're growing it for sprouts. In this case, the space in the box over here allows the seeds or the shoots to grow taller. Now, because there is a height restriction here, as you can see, you cannot grow them as tall as others, but this is the perfect height for baby microgreens. So I'm going to show you what I have in here. I'm going to show you how it works, and I'm going to show you how to water it, and I'll walk you through the whole process, and then you see if this is something that you'd be interested in. I'm pretty excited. Now, they do sell different versions of this. They sell larger ones, and then they sell single-tiered, different materials, but I thought this one was kind of cool because I like the fact that it was a two-tier, and I really like the fact that it wasn't too large because it allows me to try out stuff. Now, I have learned something already in my first experience, so I'll show you what that is, and anyways, let's get started, okay? So let's tip the camera and I'll show you what's going on here. Okay, so here is my little two-tier system. Top tier, I have speckled peas. Bottom tier, I have Daikon Radish. Now, the whole purpose of the system is you pour the water from above, and as the water runs down, it waters each individual tier. And then the water comes through at the bottom and you have drainage, and I'll take this apart and show you. So before you get started, you got to take your seeds and you need to put them, what I did was you need to soak them. It actually helps them to get started because the seed coats are tough. Now, had they been, if they're sitting in a jar or they're sitting in some soil, they will germinate. Like in the jar, they germinate pretty quickly. In soil, they take a little longer to germinate. But if you soak them first, and it's always, a suggestion, it's not a must-have, but if you soak your seeds first, it is they germinate a lot quicker. And I did notice that after 24 hours of soaking, many of the seed coats actually seem to swell or even crack open. So it did actually speed up the process of sprouting. So anyway, and what I did initially, which was a mistake, and I recommend if you do this to do it slightly differently, what I did was in order to measure the quantity of seeds, because you don't know, like I do want a thick coating. I don't want to have a sporadic amount of seeds here with just a few. I really wanted to fill it. I didn't want to have any holes. So I poured the seeds out first to measure how many I needed. And then I poured those seeds, spilled them out into I tipped them out into a cup, filled the cup with some water, and I let them soak overnight. But I didn't account for the fact that the seeds are going to swell. So they swelled. And when I put them back in after they had swollen, I didn't account for that swelling, and so now many of them are overlapping. So next time, what I would recommend is filling the tray, if you're going to measure, either do like a tablespoon or two, or fill it only 3/4 of the way so that there is some opening. And then when those seeds are soaked, swollen, and you pour them back into the tray, they will have accounted, that extra quarter space will account for their swelling, and that should give it a full covering, because I really like to do a full covering my seeds. So I'm going to open the container here. I'm going to tip the camera again. Okay, so this first tray here, I have speckled peas. Now, if you look carefully, you can see that the speckled peas are overlapping. So it's okay for this first attempt, but in future, like I said, 3/4 of the way full, I'll pour them out so that so what I did was I covered one layer of seeds, poured them out into a cup, soak them overnight, and then you think, well, how are you going to strain out seeds, right? Because especially the little ones, like you can easily lose them, and I don't want to put them in a strainer and then have to take them out of the strainer and pick them out, because once they're wet, I find seeds become like a bit, they stick together and they stick to your hands. So what I did was I poured them with water and all into these trays. Now these trays have drainage. At the bottom here is drainage, okay? And so I poured them out, and as I poured them out into the tray, all the water that they were sitting in poured out at the bottom. So that really was easy. I didn't have to use a separate container. Then I spread them out, and even before that, I poured them in and then I rinsed them under the water. And I rinsed them, it's recommended in the instructions to rinse them twice. However, if you pour them out into here, you get to skip that step. You just pour them straight out. Rinse them under the water. The water will drain out through the bottom, and then they'll be clean, and then you spread them out by hand and they're ready, okay? So the second tier that I did here, this is Daikon Radish, and as you can see, it's starting to sprout. Oops, it's even dripping a little bit. So there is drainage at the bottom. I can't tip it too much. Let's see here. There's drainage at the bottom. And so then once you do the same thing, rinse them under the water, couple of times or till you feel that they're clear, then you put them into the container. The first time around, after you've rinsed them, they don't need to be watered. You just place the one tray like this, and as you can see here, they're germinating. Right now, they don't have any green on them because they're not exposed to light really. They're kind of hidden underneath. But as they grow taller, they'll go straight up, and they will become green from the light. They'll convert chlorophyll in their leaves. So then you can put that in the window if you'd like, and then, or not, depends what you'd like to do. Then you put the second tray like this, okay? And then you would cover this like so. And there is your watering tray. See all the holes? Okay, so then what you would do to water these, okay, everything's set up. Sorry about that, I'm gonna tip the camera a bit more. Then you take I like to use a water jug, and then I just gently, what I think is best is what I've discovered is you just, there. And as it does that, the water drips down through. Now you have enough space to fill it, to water it, for water to fill in here, right? That's your space. So you don't wanna gush water in and have them drown or overflow the container from the bottom. Just take it slowly. But I feel like this little notch that's here in the plastic is kind of like your measuring stick for how much water you can pour in. So I kind of just do that. And there you go, and all the seeds are watered. Now what you do afterwards is you would then take this container to the sink. You could see here at the bottom. Sorry, I want you to see. There's the water at the bottom. I would carry this whole system, and see now it's pretty full. So it's ready, it's rinsed, it's drained, it's strained. I'm gonna carry this to the sink, and I'm gonna drain at the sink, and I actually keep it next to my sink here in my gardening room, but you can keep it anywhere you'd like. You can keep it on a countertop, you can keep it next to the sink. If you really would like these things to get green, then you could keep it in a window. But what I'm gonna do, because the top here are speckled peas, and the speckled peas like to grow tall, eventually I will take off this lid here. And I will just let them grow straight up because it's speckled peas. Now, had I put, let's say, kale and radishes, over here, sorry. Had I put kale and radishes or broccoli and, let's say, radishes or kale or clover or alfalfa or any kind of sprouting seed that you'd like, then they wouldn't need as much height. But because I chose to put speckled peas at the top, I need to account for that height gap. So I will eventually remove this, and I'll just water over top like this, and it will strain down to the bottom. And I have a feeling that the seeds at the bottom will probably be ready for harvest before the seeds at the top because of how little they need to be. Like, they only need to be this tall, perfect height. Now the great thing about this too is that you don't need to worry about soil. When you take them out, they probably will have formed a mat of roots. You could just rinse the whole thing, you can take it apart. You don't need to cut it, you could literally just eat the entire thing. Now the seeds for the sprouts, and if you look at my post, and my post will be linked at the bottom as well, well. And it's my post on growing sprouts and the health. I've included the health benefits in that post, discussing why sprouts are so healthy. Now, to sum it up, basically sprouts, all the nutrients for the seeds are contained inside the seed with the seed coat. And the reason why sprouts are so beneficial is because all those nutrients are concentrated and condensed inside the seed. When the seed sprouts a little bit and you eat the entire seed and shoot all in one, you're actually getting a concentrated dose of nutrients. So for example, like broccoli is 40 times the health benefit, of health value of regular broccoli that you'd buy or grow and just eat like a stalk of broccoli or a head of broccoli. This has way more if you're growing broccoli. So all the seeds that you use for sprouting have a higher concentration of nutrients than had you grown them in the garden and, you know, harvested one. This has a lot more health benefits. So anyway, that's why it's great to eat the seed. And that's why I really like sprouting. And I think with this method, it keeps it clean. An alternative to a jar, you do have to maintain the cleanliness of inside the jar. You do need to rinse your seeds twice a day, ensure that there's no bacteria growth. In this case, they don't sit in water, the water drains down, and I think that it's another great alternative for growing them. Now, my seeds are tight here at the top, and I'm a little bit concerned because they're so tight, they don't get to have like perfect airflow around them. So maybe pick up, if you have the same thing happens to you, pick up your tray and let it drain. And as I did this, I noticed that some water had come out. So you definitely want to allow the drainage just to be sure that there's no bacterial growth. But I think that overall the health of these seeds is it's a lot more sterile than growing in a jar, even though the jar is a great alternative. And I absolutely always grow seeds in a jar. I just think it's fun to try something new. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope that you like it. Please give me a like, hit the like button to give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy my video, if you found it helpful. Also, please be sure to subscribe to my channel, click the subscribe button, and definitely click the notification bell, because if you don't, YouTube will not show my video to you even though you may be a subscriber. So definitely click that bell to be notified. And if there's anything you'd like me to discuss in an upcoming video, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave me a comment below and let me know what interests you, or if you have any questions about this post, I would be so happy, or this video, I'd be happy to answer them for you. That's it for me for today. I love chatting with you all, and I'll be talking to you all again soon. Thanks again, and bye for now, and happy gardening.